Welcome to the Whirlwheel Global Peace Through the Arts. And I am so excited that Filemyr is here. And
thank you, Vijali.
Very special.
Thank you.
And the first time I met Anne, she was president at IAIA, which is
I was actually the dean. Not the president, yeah.
The dean.
The dean, the academic dean at the Institute of American Indian Arts.
Yes, and then she became president at Southwest College. And now she has started her own PhD program, which I am so excited about it, and I want her to tell you about it.
Okay.
So, Anne?
All right. So thank you, Vijali. Yes, Vijali came and did art classes and created beautiful artworks that were in the hallway when I was the head of the academic programs at the Institute of American Indian Arts here in Santa Fe. And then I moved from there to Southwestern College, where I became president, and in that role developed a unique transdisciplinary applied doctoral program to really address the times that we're living in, and to really take a look at how can we make a difference? What is effective? Where are we located? How can we use our voices and our passions effectively? And for me, the students answer this first question, and this is kind of the fundamental question is, what breaks your heart and what do you want to do about it? Because we are living in heartbreaking times.
Oh, are we? Yes.
We're living in a broken world. We're living in ruptures between peoples, between humans and the earth, between nation states, between communities, between races and genders, and there's so much brokenness. Our hearts are broken. But what are we going to do to seek repair? And how are we going to imagine a future, maybe beyond our own lives, in which people live in right relationship to each other across difference, across beliefs and ideas and ideologies and genders and races and ethnicities and languages and belief systems? How are we to be a people on this planet?
Yes, that is so important.
And how are we to repair the ruptures we have with the waterways, that we polluted the water that we need for our lives? How are we going to repair the damage to the climate system, earth systems, ecological systems, animals, plants, and our deep embeddedness as animals,
yes,
as human animals on this earth, in this earth, as earthlings, as earthlings. So I'm interested in visionaries. And so the name of the program is the PhD in Visionary Practice and Regenerative Leadership.
That title is so thrilling, that you have a PhD program, have started it. And what is your experience with people coming into
it's just
that?
Been fascinating, because we're living in a time of rupture. There's so many seeking to make repair. There's so many individuals coming, into adulthood, because this is a program for people in their adult lives. It's a program for people who have been in the healthcare system or in the educational system or in the justice system and have seen what is broken and have ideas of how things could be better, of what kinds of approaches need to be changed, what kind of policies, what kind of practices. What new ways can we engage with each other for learning, for health, for wellness, for restoration of ecosystems, and for rebuilding ourselves, also for our own self-love and well-being.
So who are the people that are coming, and what are they doing with you? I mean,
it's so exciting.
How has it emerged?
Yeah, so we're in our third year at this moment. We have 27 students actively enrolled right at this time. So when the students come in, the first essay they write, they work with this tension of what has broken their heart and what do they want to do about it, based on their location. Maybe they're in technology spaces. Maybe they're in education or healthcare, or they're already invested in some space. So, for example, we have people that have come in to the program, and we call it the vision seed. One of the vision seeds is someone who has been a clinician, a therapist, a clinical practitioner for mental health, and she understands that without inner peace, there can be no peace in relationships, peace in the family, peace in the community, peace in the nation, peace in the world. So she's very interested on linking mental health and well-being with capacity for developing and sustaining inner states of peace and harmony. So that is her vision seed, and how to actually penetrate the mental health field that doesn't talk about this very much. Right? So they're doing all this diagnostic work about, naming all these mental health ailments. And she's like, but why don't we flip it and look at what brings mental well-being?
Yes.
And not just to the individual, but then, because so much of the reason people end up in her care is because of trauma that comes out of relationships.
Yes,
Parent
so
to child,
often. Yes.
person to person,
Yes.
Romantic relationship, sibling relationship, parent-child relationship, that the relationships are broken.
Yeah.
And now people are hurt, they're wounded, they're traumatized, and they're seeking well-being. So she's like, what is it that will bring wellness? So that is what she is pursuing, right? As a person who's already spent decades of her life working in mental health as a clinician, as an example. Another person literally came into the program based on a vision she had of some 1,000 years into the future, how we might be living in smaller communities, more intimately with the earth, and how could she in this time carry that vision seed. So she literally was given this vision of this future time of humanity, and the children who appeared to her in this vision said, what can you do in your time to help bring this about?
Excellent.
And so she's like, what am I going to do as a community organizer? She's more of a organic farmer community organizer person. So what can I do in my space? And we have another person come into the program because he's in IT, he's in technology. He's very concerned about artificial intelligence, as many of us are. But many of us just go, oh my God, like that. We put our hands up. But he's in IT, so he understands something else. And he's like, what if this capacity could become a voice for Mother Earth, a voice for the voiceless? What if AI speaks to us from the perspective of the earth?
Yes.
And offers wisdom around what we can do to repair. That's an interesting idea.
It is. Has anyone asked AI?
Well, that's
question?
what he's working. There are others working on this.
You,
yes, there's a community of sort of alternative. Every field has that group of scientists, business people, educators, healthcare providers, entrepreneurs on this cutting edge of, I'm not just here for my individual wealth. I'm not just here for my individual career. I'm actually deeply called to service. And I'm going to provide service in this vision of a better future. And so those are the people drawn to the program. One of the young, I call them young, they're a little younger than me, but in any case, he is a veteran from the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. And of course, like many veterans, he is hurt. He has trauma. He has PTSD. He is struggling, right? And he said, they did a lot to train us to go and be warriors. We went to base camp. We went through this training, and he was in the military for many years. And so he knows very well how the system works. But he said, when you're done and you choose to come out, there's nothing.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
There's no, 6 week.
Sad.
We're going to 6 week training, and then 8 week, and then a year, and then your life will be also still held with this concern for your well-being, for your re-entry. So that is his vision seed.
That is excellent.
He said we were trained with fear. we weren't trained with love. And then when we come out, if we're not retrained with love, then we can't function well because we're trained with fear.
Yes.
So he's got a very sophisticated understanding of the warrior culture, as he calls it. And he has a deep compassion, and he himself has the experience that he is still healing from. So what he will bring to change the military industrial complex, to change the lives of the men and women who voluntarily serve and then choose to exit and then have no, transition back into the society.
Yeah, it's so needed.
Yes.
So needed.
Yeah.
And he came up with that idea for his PhD.
Oh yeah, they have to have their ideas.
Right.
So they come in with a vision, we call the vision seed, but then they come through the coursework, and as they encounter new material in the courses, like we taught what is regenerative leadership as opposed to top-down authority, what is partnership as opposed to domination, what are systems of domination, what are systems of partnership. Regenerative leadership is a partnership-based model for leadership. So they have courses that teach material, and they take that and reflect back on their own vision seeds.
That is so excellent.
Yeah.
I just admire you for, how did you personally come up with this idea that this is what you wanted to do?
Well, it's kind of like it was my vision seed. I've been in education, higher education, for a long time. I first started in 1990 at Antioch College, and then I went to the Institute of American Indian Arts to work in a tribal community for a tribal college, and then came to Southwestern College, a small nonprofit graduate school here in Santa Fe. And I just knew that I understand how to create curriculum. I understand how to do values-based learning. I'm very interested in how we enact and bring into the world our deep values and how we articulate them. And one of the things I appreciated about Southwestern College was how explicit, and I worked with the leadership team there to get really clear about what are our values as a higher education institution, as a learning center, as one person calls it, a light center. We're here to transform lives, and the mission is transforming consciousness through education. So we're committed that we know change in the world begins on the inside, right? Gandhi said, be the change you want to see.
Yes.
So if I'm going to make a change, if I want the world to be more just, more egalitarian, more fair, more loving, I have to be in myself, to myself, in relationship with myself, but also in my relations with you and others.
Right.
So at Southwestern College, we named 5 values. And every day in everything we do, we say, are we living these values? Can we live them better? Can we enact them better? And they are partnership. Even though it's a hierarchy in a school, there's a president, there's a dean, there's faculty, there's students. It can look like a pyramid of power. But how do we disrupt that structure so that even as president, when I make a decision, I confer with people who are going to be impacted by the decision. All the voices are heard. They have a place. They can critique. They can offer an alternative. How do you do partnership? Even in historically hierarchical structures, it's possible.
Right.
But you got to be intentional.
Yes.
So partnership, mindfulness. So we start all academic program meetings with meditation, quiet. We don't follow a single tradition of mindfulness or meditation. We just rotate. You might lead it one day, and then the next person, and the next person. A student leads it, a faculty leads it, a staff. We just go around, and someone leads some kind of mindfulness practice. Could be breath, could be visualization, whatever they want to bring. A gratitude practice. But we start with mindfulness classes and meetings. So mindfulness is our value. Service, that we're here not just for our own capacity to build our own reputation or wealth or whatever, that we want to disrupt that. And what's great is the neurobiology tells us now that our brains light up when we care and share. And when we don't, those parts of the brain don't respond. We are actually firing on less capacity when we're stingy, hoarding, mean-spirited, small-minded. it actually is represented now. The neurobiology shows us, because we can map this stuff. So we know service is our call as human beings. And small children, when you watch little kids engage, how they engage with each other, how they show concern and care and share, left to their own. Not that they'll always do that or choose that, but you can see that human, really deep-rooted desire, because we are herd animals and we belong to each other.
Absolutely.
So that service is a piece that we really mean. Empowerment. And by that, for me, I connect that with courage. Because you can't actually live your values if you lack courage, if you're frightened, if you choose cowardice over courage. You actually have to have the capacity to stand up and say, hey, bully, stop bullying. You actually have to call it. You have to actually say, I don't support the violence. I don't support the meanness. I don't support the top-down authority. You actually have to have courage, and you have to be empowered. Which means, sometimes we're taught to be silent or to go along, not to rock the boat, especially as women, to comply. So you have to disrupt some of your own programming to get out there and be like, no, like hell no. Like, I don't support that. I stand for this, I don't stand for that. And I'm going to be clear. I'm going to be empowered to have a voice, and I'm going to be empowered to speak my truth. I'm not going to be run over or silenced or made to be afraid. So courage and empowerment for me are connected.
Yes.
And then the fifth value is loving. And, I don't think there's another higher education institution in the United States that has love as a value.
That's why I think it's so wonderful what you're doing. Well, I think that's a wonderful thought to close on. And as I always love to do, speaking of consciousness and meditation, I like to close with just a couple of minutes of silence. And just let yourself sink back into yourself, into that silence. And in that silence, notice a spark of peace and stillness. And when you find that, just rest in that stillness. And when you have found that, send that peace from your heart out into the world, out into Gaza, into Israel, Afghanistan, all these countries that are going through so much trauma, and the whole planet, and the United States. Just send out that spark of peace and love. Om Bhurvaswaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Hyo Nat Prachodat. Om Bhurvaswaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Hyo Nat Prachodayat. Om Bhurvaswaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Hyo Nat Prachodayat. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Until next time, please carry these words, these wonderful words you've heard from Anne, into your lives. And let's together bring peace on this planet. See you in a couple of weeks.